Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Hungry Man 97. This is going to be part 3 of buying a collection on Craigslist, and I'll buy off Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. This one happens to be Craigslist again, so all 3 have been Craigslist, and this one's $30 for several boxes. What really caught my eye is unopened wax packs of hockey. Well, I don't collect hockey, but I'm interested in wax packs of pretty much anything. They were definitely junk wax era, but we'll see if there's anything good. And about a 30-minute drive. He gave me his address for his house. We'll see what happens. And guys, if you haven't already checked out my buddy Darren at Grunt Baseball, that's his YouTube channel for all things baseball quick clips, especially with the season getting underway. He's got a lot of great information over there, like the weird Yankees big bats, and also his website at grunttalksmlb.com. And if you haven't already checked out my channel, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you as a subscriber. Okay, let's get back into this. This was a super quick meeting. I found this ad on Craigslist, messaged him, he messaged back, and I was on my way. All within about an hour. This is a first for me on Craigslist. It seemed like too good to be true. I love big lots of cards for cheap. If I end up buying cards that aren't worth it, then at least I have a few hours of fun. Yeah, sorting cards is fun. If you're watching this video, you probably understand that. He had instructed me to park in the driveway. I went into his dining room. You never know if sellers are going to be weird or not. Some prefer to meet in a lit parking lot, and some will let you into their house. Either way is fine with me. He was very friendly, a musician looking to make some space, to free up some space from these cards. I don't know what to expect to find. One photo had 4 boxes of hockey cards, like 4 sealed wax boxes. That's cool. The second pic had 3 large boxes of cards. I could see a lot of baseball, but I couldn't really tell what it was. The ad said a mix of cards with mainly NHL. When I got there was quite a bit more. It looked like several more wax boxes and more loose cards and a couple 800 count boxes. I asked him why he was selling the cards. He told me he was given them by a friend, but wasn't really interested in cards. Well, whenever I hear got them from a friend, it seems like the go-to response, as if there was some other sad story they didn't care to share. I asked that question because I want to know how much they know about the cards. A lot of sellers who are naive about prices actually may ask too much. They think since the cards are 35 years old and full of Hall of Famers, they must be worth a lot. I got the impression he wanted them gone, and that was a good sign. He told me he was looking for $30 for the wax boxes and $30 for the large boxes. I immediately told him I read his ad as $30 for both, as in everything in those pictures. Then with all the other cards on the table, I was a little concerned we weren't going to reach a deal. At this point, I tried to assure him, well, maybe we could reach a deal. I poked around the collection for a few minutes. I told him I wasn't really a hockey collector, but I was interested in what I saw. So I tend to be a very honest person. If I see something of value, I will tell them, hey, this is something that might resell well. Or if I see something that's junk wax, I'll be like, well, these are junk wax. They're cool, but not really worth much. Even though I don't resell anything, I am definitely a cheap buyer. So I paused for a couple minutes and said, I was really only planning to spend $30 today, but I'd make an offer for everything. I paused again and said I'd offer $50 for everything here. My offer was met with silence. Then I kind of said, to kind of break the silence, I said, but if that's not what you're looking for, that I'd make a smaller offer for just some of it. He said, how about $70? First of all, I didn't even have $70 with me. I thought for a sec. And I told him, no, I don't think I can do that. I don't believe there's that much value here. The most I can do is $50. So I stayed at my number. And then again, I told him I'd buy a smaller portion if he wasn't agreeing to that $50. He agreed on $50 and we shook hands. So when I got the cards home, I set up shop at the kitchen table. My understanding wife knew what this meant, that I'd be cluttering the dining room for a couple days. She's okay with that. She's a keeper. I wasn't super excited out of the gate. The extra wax boxes were not sealed. The packs had all been ripped and the cards were just in the boxes loose. Well, that sucked. I had planned on keeping all the hockey sealed. I wouldn't enjoy ripping it since I can only name like 2 players in hockey. Already, I'm not feeling good about this deal. All these cards are just loose. If there was anything good in them, they'd probably been pulled out. And as I went through the cards, the ad was right. Mainly hockey, maybe 75%. The headache was that all the hockey cards were all mixed up. They were backwards, they're upside down. It was like someone had dumped out all the cards on the ground and then like quickly shoved them back in the boxes. I sorted them by manufacturer, all junk wax era, just like baseball in the 90s. There were a ton of brands, like these premium brands and just tons of brands. Actually, there seemed to be more hockey manufacturers than baseball. That was kind of annoying. There was a couple dozen cards in top loaders, but they were all a bust. The top loaded cards were just 90s insert cards with zero value. As usual, I made a stack of good cards to top load. With this purchase, there were a lot fewer good cards than normal. I separated all the cards and put them into 800 count boxes. There were 3 binders of cards where I pulled out the cards and put them into boxes as well. I'm not really a binder guy. I usually do just top loaders and then, of course, 800 count boxes. I found a ton of penny sleeves, 2 packs of top loaders, and a rigid, like a plastic box for holding cards. It was kind of cool to find some supplies. I don't usually get those when I buy a collection like this. So what about these good cards? Well, I found 1 common autograph, a few serial numbered cards, 2 Michael Jordan dollar cards, and a whole stack of Wayne Gretzky's. The Gretzky's were all junk wax era except for one. It was a 1984 Topps. I looked it up and they consistently sell for about $10. By far the most valuable card in the whole lot. Oh, and one thing I learned, Gretzky is like the Jordan of hockey cards. There's a ton of Gretzky's. Hockey manufacturers must have put them in like every pack. I remember like pulling cards in the 90s basketball where there was a Jordan in like every single pack. I mean, he was the big name, of course, and he sold these cards. So manufacturers just completely watered down his values by putting them everywhere. Well, I was pulling out Wayne Gretzky's left and right, parallels, base cards, whatever. It was kind of ridiculous. I stopped putting aside Gretzky's after I realized how many there actually were. The sealed boxes had a little bit of value. The values I'm listing are conservative and not including shipping. So here's the value. That Stadium Club 91 was like $12. The 93 Upper Deck Series 1 was like $30. The 91 OPC was $10, and the 90 Topps was $15. Now, this is what they're going for before shipping. So if you want them to your door, you're going to be paying more than that. So I'm pretty conservative with my numbers. So, all right. So here's the whole thing by the numbers. I spent $50. The total number of cards I got, of course, I'm pretty approximate on this, but I'm pretty close, I think. About 12,000 cards. Wax boxes value came to $67. Card supplies came to about $20. The singles that I top loaded came to about $15. There's a ton of cards worth like $1. I'm not counting those because those don't really add up. So the total that I value that I have on this is about $102. That's not including boxes and boxes of commons, of course. So in conclusion, not very exciting. Even though I made about 100% profit on this, it's kind of hard to put that in tangible numbers because, I got a bunch of hockey cards that I just don't really care about. I'm not going to start collecting hockey cards. I may end up selling the wax boxes later. I don't really know. I'm just going to sit on them right now. So definitely had the impression that these cards were well searched. There wasn't really any hidden gems. Like I said, that one card with about a $10 value is by far the most valuable card in the set. So what do you guys think? Do you guys like hockey cards? I don't. I'm not going to start collecting them now, even though I have a ton in the garage now. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. It was kind of a fun video. Hopefully I'll do better the next time. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.